going, guys? I am here to finally talk about Avatar Aang, The Last Airbender. This is a movie that has been through a lot. Now, I haven't done a traditional movie review like this in a very long time. Um, I haven't really done something like this before in a long time. The last time I did was for um, was I think it might have been for what did I do one for Shelby Oaks? I don't think I did one for Shelby Oaks. I think that was just the uh, why I felt like that movie was really important for me. Um, but I'm doing a traditional movie review in the sense that I am talking about Avatar Aang, The Last Airbender, a movie that has had quite the journey of getting to us in front of our eyes. And here we go. Let's talk about the movie. So, um, the film is directed by Lauren Montgomery, who worked on the show as an story artist and who worked on Avatar: The Last Airbender and Legend of Korra. Um, and it's based on a story by Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, who are the creators of Avatar: The Last Airbender, and it is starring Eric Nam as Aang, Stephen Ewan as Zuko, Jessica Matten as Katara, Dave Bautista as Taga, Donnie Kwan as Toph, Roman Zaragoza as Sokka, and yeah, um, a lot of other great actors are in this as well. Um, so let's talk about this. So there's a lot of controversy surrounding this film. Number one, you have the fact that it was originally going to be a theatrical release, and you also have the fact that it was also um, taken from theatrical and to um, moved right over to streaming, which made a lot of Avatar fans, including myself, very unhappy. And then you also have the fact that the movie was leaked online for a lot of people to see. And I'm sure if you went down a rabbit hole, you might have found at least a clip of this movie being leaked online and being shared by a lot of different people. And I will admit something right here, right now. I will admit it. I saw the clips. I saw everything that was being leaked online. Um, and I withheld judgment on the things that I had seen until the movie was officially released. And I did myself a service and watched this movie on Paramount Plus. And now that I can now talk about it, I can now talk about how I feel about this movie. I love this movie. I love it. I love it. I think it's the best animated film that's come out this year. I hope many people are going to go support it because I know it's getting a limited theatrical release in LA and New York. I hope if you live in LA and New York that you go and support it. I'm only an hour away from Los Angeles, so at some point this week I might get around to seeing it. But you guys know how much Avatar: The Last Airbender means to me. It is my favorite TV show of all time. Not just animated it's my favorite TV show, period. So I have a lot of connection to this franchise, and I've been so disappointed with everything that has come out of Avatar since that original series. Um, the M. Night Shyamalan live action film is my least favorite movie of all time. Yes, I said it. It's my least favorite movie. And for any of you who have followed my channel or followed me for any period of time, you guys know that my least favorite movie of all time is M. Night Shyamalan's The Last Airbender. Um, and I was disappointed with the Legend of Korra. I did not like Legend of Korra as much as some people out there do. And for those of you who do like Legend of Korra, I celebrate the fact that you like it. Uh, I think the first season is pretty good. Um, season 2 is god awful. Season 3 I thought was a step up in a way. But then season 4 just fell right back so hard, and it just never picked up after that. And then and then Netflix has put out their live action series, which also is not very good. And I did a whole video of why I think the Netflix adaptation is really bad. So there's a lot that this movie's kind of having to do. This movie has to do a couple things. It has to get fans of the OG series back on board, like myself, and it also has to um, get a new audience. It has to bring in a brand new audience that has never been exposed to Avatar: The Last Airbender before, and bring them in and and make them enjoy it. And Avatar: Seven Havens, which they just dropped the trailer for that, also has to do the same thing. I think this movie succeeds on that. This movie, I feel, is kind of like what Force Awakens did for the Star Wars franchise. This did for Avatar. Now, I know, I know a lot of people. Force Awakens. Why would you compare to Force Awakens? I'm not comparing it in terms of quality. I think this movie is far better than the Force Awakens. But when I compare to the Force Awakens, I mean before Episode 7 came out, before the Force Awakens came out, Star Wars was a franchise. The prequels soured the taste of a lot of people who love the original trilogy. And even though you have people like me who grew up with the prequels, never fell off from Star Wars. We never fell off from Star Wars. But there are a lot of people who grew up with the original trilogy that did fall off Star Wars because of the prequels, you know. And some of those original trilogy fans, when Force Awakens came out, they came back, and they were like, they fell in love with Star Wars again because Force Awakens gave them something that was very familiar to them, and therefore they were able to, you know, praise it as a result of that. But you have other fans of the original trilogy who were not on board with it, who have never gone back to see Star Wars because nothing to them has ever come close to the standards of the original trilogy to them. I think Avatar: Aang: The Last Airbender is going to do that for a lot of people. There are going to be fans like myself who are going to love this movie and who are going to praise it and who are actually going to fall in love with this universe again. But there are going to be people who are like, no, Avatar, it was great when it was on Nickelodeon. It was great when there was just 3 seasons on Nickelodeon. And it just, let's just stop touching it at this point. There are gonna be fans like that. And I implore those fans to at least give this product, I called it a product, to give this movie a chance. Give this movie a chance because it might bring you back into the story. It might bring you back into this thing that you love so much. This movie did that for me. I think the movie is so fantastic. It's beautifully animated. The humor is fantastic. The action is awesome. And I love the way it expands the lore. It expands the lore on so many different aspects. And I'm not going to get into spoilers here. I might do a spoilers review later on. But the way they are able to expand the lore on the this world of benders and non-benders, and in the trailer we see a little bit about a group of non-benders who are after a specific kind of power, and it's really really interesting to see that dynamic play out, and to see the little things that this movie tease up a lot of things that are going to come to fruition, and things that we see pay off in Legend of Korra. And it actually makes certain elements, no pun intended, it makes certain elements of Legend of Korra a little bit better. Like the whole benders and non-benders rivalry. They delve into that in this movie. And that aspect actually gets even further explored into Legend of Korra, which is very interesting. And that element, that aspect, was always something that was actually one of my favorite parts of Legend of Korra, was seeing that dynamic of benders versus non-benders, and the non-benders feeling like the benders are oppressive, and like that shift and that dynamic is something that's very very interesting, and something that this film kind of explores and tees up to what we eventually end up seeing. Because of course, Amon, who is a villain in Legend of Korra, is a man who brings this non-bender organization together to kind of be a symbol for the non-benders in a way. And I think it's interesting that this sets stuff up like that. It does set up something like Republic City is a city that is flourishing in this movie. You can tell that it's in its early stages. You know, they one of the things that they do is that they really do a good job of showing you where each of the characters are at, and in this point of their lives. They are all in their early 20s, but they still feel like the characters that we grew up with. They still feel like the characters from that original series. Even Aang. Um, this is a minor spoiler. It has nothing to do with the overall plot of the movie. It's just one little thing. But there's a scene where Aang sends letters out to each of his friends asking for help on this specific mission that they need to go on. And he sends one out to Zuko, and uh, he uses the terms that he used when he was um, hiding in the Fire Nation. He tells Zuko, he's like, Flameo Hotman. He starts his letter by saying Flameo Hotman. And I'm like, wow, they kept the spirit of these characters is still here. The spirit of who they are in the animated series is still there, and I love that. I absolutely love that. That absolutely worked for me. Even characters like Sokka. Sokka is still the goofy kind of comic relief character, and for some people who aren't as diehard Avatar fans, that might bother them a little bit. It might bother them that, oh really, Sokka is the exact same character that, yes, Sokka is a little bit more mature, but he still has that goofy side to him. He still has that side. That's always going to be a part of who the character is, and I love that. He has actually some of the funniest bits of the whole movie. There is one scene of the movie. I won't give away specifics on what happens in the scene, but let's just say there's a scene where the characters they go on a spiritual journey, is what I'll say. I'll say that. There's this whole section of the characters going on this like spiritual journey, and it's a scene that both I didn't even mute my phone. It's a scene that both is like, oh my goodness, this is crazy, but also it's a scene that makes you just, it made me laugh hysterically at how funny it is, because Sokka has some of the best lines in it, and the voice casting is fantastic. Dave Bautista was really great as Taga, and everything they explore with Taga is so fantastic. And without giving away too many spoilers, I love what they did with Taga a little bit later on in the story, and and it's just so great. There's a lot of great little Easter eggs of the original show. There's a little bit of Easter eggs in regards to like The There's some Easter eggs to the original show. There's some great little callbacks to the original show. There's also some great little things that are later brought up in Legend of Korra that are then um, that are like referenced here. I won't again. I'm not giving away what those are, but there's little things that are referenced in this movie that then pay off in Legend of Korra. There are little characters. There are cameos from certain characters who we know and love. And yeah, it it just all works well. And the music, oh my goodness, the music, Jeremy Zuckerman, this is probably, I think, his best work as far as music. I've got the soundtrack loaded up on my YouTube music, and it is like I am like just whew. I'm like I am in love with this soundtrack with the music by Jeremy Zuckerman. I think it's his best work in the Avatar franchise yet. And the animation, like I said, the animation's gorgeous. Like I look at this and I go, "Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful." Now, if I had something to complain about, if I'm going to get into negatives, because I've done a bunch of gushing about how much I love this movie, but if I'm going to get into negatives, I might have just one. I might have just one tiny little nitpick, but it is a little bit spoilerish, and I can't really delve into it. But I'll just say there is something that happens that kind of makes me go, okay, that's a little typical Avatar. It's a Deus Ex Machina. It's kind of a Deus Ex Machina that they've pulled out of it's kind of like their little rabbit that they pulled out of the hat. Um, you know, there are times where they lean into some of those tropes that they, because every Avatar episode always ended on a Deus Ex Machina. Um, uh, but that's just part of the format, the formula of the show. Um, at least all of the non filler episodes always ended with a all of the filler episodes mostly ended with some form of a Deus Ex Machina. And I think I think this movie does fall into that a little bit, but not really much, and yeah, and and yeah, I love what they do with all of the characters. Toph is incredible. There's obviously the joke that's in the trailer where Toph says about Taga that, hey, he smells pretty good. He smells pretty good for an old guy. Ew. My senses tell me that this guy's pretty attractive. That whole back and forth is so great, and really the dynamic between the team. You can tell that this team is still have that same back and forth that they did from the original show, and it worked for me. It absolutely worked for me. So overall, guys, this movie is fantastic. I love it. I think it is classic Avatar: The Last Airbender for me. It feels like Avatar. It doesn't feel like, there were never any like eye roll moments like in the M Night Shyamalan movie. Oh my god, did they really just do that? Or like Legend of Korra, it's like, oh my gosh, did they really just do that? And not one point during the movie was I watching it and going like what, none of this makes sense. This doesn't line up with anything from the original show. And yeah, I loved it. I think it's fantastic. And if I had to give a score out of 10, I think I would give this movie probably like a 9.5 out of 10. I think it's just that fantastic. There are little things here and there that maybe go, okay, maybe this didn't work for me, but I'm not gonna lie, guys. I was watching this movie and just thinking to myself, on what planet does a studio executive look at this and go, yeah, this belongs on streaming? Because I can imagine this being released worldwide in movie theaters, and just everyone like being at awe in the visuals and all that kind of stuff. And you know, and I love it. I think it's very very great. But yeah, have you guys watched Avatar: Aang: The Last Airbender? Please let me know if you have, and if so, what do you think of it? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know in the comment section below. Join me later on today, guys, because I'm going to be doing a live stream reacting to the Marvel Hall H Comic Con panel, and I may or may not have a special guest during that time. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I will talk to you guys later. Peace out.